Better Together podcast.
Welcome to the Better Together podcast from the Fuquay-Varina Chamber of Commerce. We are recording today from the Dashmore Conference Room and Studio, sponsored by Rescued Wood Rehab. The Better Together podcast highlights local businesses each week as the Fuquay-Varina Chamber of Commerce continues to promote an amazing business community. I am Marty Woodward from Rescued Wood Rehab, and I am joined by my co-host, the one, the only Brad Marshall from Greater Culture CrossFit here in Fuquay-Varina. Brad, how are you, sir?
Doing well, although you and I both are in a state of mourning after the Tigers decided to lose in the playoffs, but I don't think we should go there today.
No.
That might be a conversation for another day.
We're going to, through this entire conversation, you ate lunch. I didn't eat lunch.
Yeah.
I'm going to be hungry because of these guests that we have coming on here today.
Super excited to be joined by these two guys. They make fantastic food here in Fuquay-Varina. We've got Blake Humphrey and Ed DeSena from Daddy D's Barbecue here in Fuquay. So thanks so much, fellas, for joining us on the podcast today.
Thank y'all for having us. We're glad to be here.
Like I said, we all know you make fantastic food, but I think people are curious of the origin story. How did Daddy D's come about, and how long have y'all been rocking and rolling here in Fuquay-Varina?
Well, we actually opened on July 2nd, 2018. It came about from, so my wife and I, when we just had our first child, and who is now 10 years old, and we were looking for a home church. So we visited churches all over, from to the right of us to the left of us, 6, 7 different ones. Well, we ended up finding our home at the Gathering Community Church right here in Fuquay. And Rachel, my better half, she got involved with the band, plays piano, and started playing piano for that location. Well, one of our service opportunities was we would go, our small group that we joined in would feed the Fuquay-Varina Fire Department. We'd take the kids, have a ball, they'd climb on the fire equipment, everything else, have fun, and we would feed them and join them in fellowship. And our small group members were like, man, I was a backyard pit master, so to speak, making my own barbecue sauces, and the more that I'd make it for them, they would just want it more. And of course, they're like, you guys should open up a restaurant. And so we did. We were both kind of not really happy with the jobs we were working, kind of thing, and we were like, certainly there's got to be something that we can take a leap of faith on and go out here and do. And so Rachel has a long history with the Cleveland Draft House, the original one, and worked there for 12 years and just loved restaurant work. Me, had no idea, didn't know nothing about it. I have been, like I said, I was a backyard pit master. I was in construction. I was in automotive repair. That's about it. And so I knew nothing about running a restaurant. Well, one day she was traveling back and forth when we had 2 campuses. One was in Holly Springs, and she was playing piano for both places. And she saw that the location we're at 1526 Broad Street, where the old Relo Drugs used to be, it's now behind the new Relo Drugs. She saw a big sign in the window for lease. So going from one place to another to practice piano. So she stopped, got the information. Next thing you know, we're getting plans drawn up and engineering, and got a quote, got a contractor, and in 5 months had it done, which came to July 2nd of 2018. We opened up. Wow. And the rest was history.
That's crazy. I love the fact that just taking a hobby and a passion, turning it into something that can be a business. We've had a lot of conversations with small business owners of that is a path for some.
That's right.
But to move at that speed is crazy. To go from
really
looking
fast
at a sign and 5 months later moving in, people now take years. So what was that process like of sign, and now all of a sudden you're moving in, and now 5 months later you are open for business?
It was very overwhelming. Of course, there's a lot of negotiations that have to take place with getting into a lease in a shopping center and all that, and we didn't know anything about that. We were trying to handle it ourselves, and then someone's like, you need to have a broker handling that for you. So that's the first lesson that we learned. So we did that, and then working with our landlords, who has just been great. They love us to death. We love them too. They do a great job in that Food Line shopping center. But yes, it was very overwhelming. With my construction background, I did the whole dining room in there myself. I got the booths from, we bought out another barbecue restaurant that closed down in the area and bought out a lot of their stuff. I refurbished everything and did all that myself for about 6 months. And and then did all the woodwork in there. Some friends from church came and helped us paint it. A guy that was going to church with us at the time, I contracted him. He did the whole kitchen. He was a contractor, GC, and he did the whole kitchen, everything for us. And yeah, it moved really fast, and it was very, very overwhelming. I remember the day that we opened, we had a line an hour before we opened down the sidewalk, and I was in there crying my eyes out. I'm not ashamed to say that. I was in there. It was so overwhelming. We had 80 some applicants that came and applied the first day, and we hired probably 50 of them. And with all these people around, it was extremely overwhelming. But we owe it all to the glory of God. Without him, without finding that church, I don't think we would have ever done this, because nobody ever, said, you should go open a barbecue restaurant, until we got with this big group of people that all said it, and like, you guys would really do great. And when we moved in there at the right time, before COVID came around, in that little area wasn't much happening. It was kind of in between Holly Springs and Fuquay, and then it all merged towards us, and then it just exploded. And so we picked a great time to do it. But yeah, we're just really blessed that the way it's gone since then in the last 7.5 years.
Yeah, sometimes it takes that little bit of a nudge from friends and family and others to say, hey, we believe in you. We think you've got something that others are going to want. And then to have that support from day one is really incredible. And I think it is certainly a niche within Fuquay, because when you think of barbecue, that's all I think of in Fuquay is Daddy D's and the product that you're putting out. And so, Blake, tell us a little bit about your role with Daddy D's and how you got involved with Daddy D's.
Sure. I too go to the same church, met them years ago. Never would have thought I'd get the chance to work with them. But I was the bass player at the gathering. Rachel played the keyboard. And we were just at worship practice one night, and it was a cool story, but I was just looking to do something different. I had a lot of stress. My back is killing me. I got arthritis. I went from landscaping to what it ended up being is where I'm at now as a catering manager. But Rachel was like, we need some help with catering if you want to just try it out and see. And that week met with Ed and Rachel in the restaurant, and I was like, I don't know, you're asking me to be Blake, and that's brave of you. And I appreciate that, but I think that's the value that I got, was they just want me to come in and just be me and let me bring what I bring to the table. And then what I brought was the customer service, the networking. We do a lot with the chamber, and then I handle all the emails coming in and out. We do any orders for pickup or delivery. We do full service weddings, and I handle all that. And then for a while there, Ed did all the venues, would go do the weddings. Rachel did all the emails for it. So I kind of took that emails off of Rachel, going to the venues, took that off of Ed, kind of freed them up to move on in the company. And I'm sure we'll discuss where we're at now. I feel like I've just taken a little load off them, but they don't piggyback over me. They trust me, and I guess I got hired with that trust. I just gotta not disearn it, right?
That's right.
I don't want to unearn the trust that I've already gotten. But
yeah, and I think people certainly recognize your face, like you said, being involved with the chamber. They see the Daddy D's trucks rolling around, so it's great. So one of the things that I'm curious of, when you think about Daddy D's and what makes you unique, I mean, a lot of great options here in Fuquay, barbecue restaurants, a variety of options. So what do you feel like makes Daddy D's unique, and what brings people coming back for more when they come and visit your place, or maybe go with some catering options?
Well, we have a lot of aspects. We have a lot of services. We have inside dining. We also have small patio area where you can dine at that's pet friendly as well. We've got the catering services. Now, the one thing about our catering that's unique is, I believe that, a lot of people are used to caterings for a wedding, let's say. It's $30 to $70 a head. You're already paying $5,000 for a wedding venue for the day. And so we offer affordable catering. The guys, we look good. We have stainless steel chafing dishes. Everything looks nice. We kind of do no frills. We can if you want to, but for the most part, we're not going around putting doilies on everything and decorating all that. They already have that done. And so they can come in and get the good look. We have upgraded to chef coats now that they wear, monogram chef coats and all that the guys wear. So we can offer a professional service with great food at an affordable price that's not going to break the bank. $15 to $25 a head, depending on what you want. We can offer the carving station for the brisket.
And turkey.
Yeah, and for turkey and all the sides that go along with it. We've Also offered we offer the food truck now that's out rolling around. So we just have branched out and offer a lot of different services to help to help with our company and also help with employees. You know, we have a lot of employees we have to keep busy, so we're good about doing that.
So I got introduced to Blake through the Chamber of Commerce, and then soon after, all of a sudden, we're having Daddy D's at a business after hours at Rescued Wood Rehab. And we continue to go there for lunch very often. When you see the big order of beef brisket, that's probably us. So yeah, I'm the beef brisket guy. Beef brisket, mac and cheese, maybe some green beans loaded with some bacon and that kind of thing. But what are some other products that people might be surprised that you have that maybe are outside of what I'm used to getting?
Yeah, so we offer a lot of country sides. We have a very large menu for what it is. That's another unique aspects about us, is that we have a large menu, and we really realized that when me and Rachel took a trip to Texas this year and did some Texas barbecue, which everybody brags about. Well, the one thing we learned there was that they offer like 2, maybe 3 meats and 2, maybe 3 sides, and that's it. So we came back feeling really great about our business because we have, collard greens, fried okra. It doesn't come in breaded and frozen. We make everything from scratch in that building. So it comes in, we hand bread it and then fry it. Our jalapeno cornbread fritters that we make in-house, and then they're deep fried, served with our honey butter. The Hush Puppies from Atkinson's Mill, which is another local company here. Not in Fuquay, but here to North Carolina. They're in Selma. But we have, we make our own style of Brunswick stew. One of the unique things is our barbecue sauces. So they're all my original recipes, and as are the rubs. And we have barbecue sauces that will appease everybody. So one of the things we found out, especially opening the first restaurant in Fuquay, is that most people in Fuquay aren't from Fuquay, or even the South for all that. So they would come in and they would say, "You guys just don't have that vinegar stuff, do you?" Exactly just like that. And we would say, "Well, we do, but we also offer a Lexington-style barbecue sauce, which is like the Midwest. With a little bit of ketchup base, a little bit of vinegar base, lots of good spices in it. We offer that in a mild and a hot. And then we also offer a sweet sauce, which is everybody's most popular one in Fuquay. And it has got little to no vinegar in it. It's not spicy, it's sweet, a lot of sugars, that kind of stuff. But it's more of like from Florida out to California and even a little bit up north where what they're used to. Everything on the other side of North Carolina, basically, they use a sweet sauce like a Memphis style. We also, as far as meats go, we offer a Memphis style rib. And then we offer a Texas style brisket, is what we call it, with our rub. It's sliced. Right now we mainly just slice the flat instead of the whole entire brisket with the point and everything. We use our points to make burnt ends. Most places only offer burnt ends about 2 days a week. We have them on the menu all the time, and we try not to run out of anything ever. So that's a very unique difference between us and a lot of other barbecue restaurants, is that we try to always have everything on the menu whenever we can.
The burnt ends with the sweet sauce. I'm telling you, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Another thing, Blake, you were mentioning this before we came on the air here, is that chicken salad. Tell us about that chicken salad, Blake.
Delicious.
So we already smoke the chicken, and so we offer that. It's a boneless, skinless chicken that we smoke, and then we use that in the chicken salad mix, which is also a homemade mix, and it's a big old bowl, and they get in there, and it is amazing. Not a lot of people know about it, but we also serve it on toasted Texas toast.
So just be ready to make more, because we'll be getting that here pretty soon. Yeah, I can't wait. So you guys, you kind of talk about how you stand out from your competitors with all these different things. Is there any other things that you do that are a little bit different? You mentioned salad.
Yes,
Tell us about the salads.
We do. We have amazing salads there, and although they're on the menu and you can get them with all different kinds of meats on top of the salad, including the chicken salad, or you can get chopped chicken put on the salad. A lot of people get brisket put on it, whatever you want. But yes, we have fresh ingredients that are purchased daily, and we make all of our salad dressings are all homemade. Nothing is just dumped right out of the bottle and into the container. It's all homemade, and so we take a lot of pride in our salads, and we do have good salads. We also make, believe it or not, homemade croutons. that when they come out of the oven and sit there, you got to be careful because they can get gone real quick. They make a really good snack, so you got to keep the hands out of the croutons.
I told you I was going to be hungry by the middle of this
Yeah.
thing. It's going to be crazy. So Daddy D's is famously here locally anyway, involved with the community at lots of different events. Share with us some of the community involvement things. We know certainly Blake is an ambassador with the Chamber of Commerce, but what are some other things that you do to get involved with the community?
Well, some of the things that we started doing at first, we haven't done it in a while because since COVID hit, but we need to do it, is right around the corner from here, we partnered with a lot, like 15 other local businesses downtown, and we did the pig jig, hurricane for relief pig jig. And so we were a part of that, where we would be doing overnight cooks right there beside the mill. They'd close that street and we'd do overnight cooks. And so we got to do that. But on a smaller level, one of the things we do is inside the store we have our what we call our wall of blessings, where you can buy a meal or redeem a meal. So anybody that comes in, there's a board on in the building that has all these tags on it with all these different meals on there, and you can grab it off there and give it to your server, and you can buy a pulled pork and with one side sandwich for somebody for like $8. Don't quote me on that, but just say for $8. And then they put it back on the board, and then somebody that comes in that's in need of a blessing that day, having a bad day, down on their luck, can't afford a meal, whatever the case may be, they can wander in, they can grab whatever meals are up there. They can grab a meal, take it up there, and walk out of there with a meal. The other thing that we started doing was we have Charity is the name. It's Charity the Giving Pig. So what we've done with that, and that started a little over a year ago. The first thing we did with that first organization was for Celebrate Recovery, which is the only one here in Fuquay. It's also held at our church, at the Gathering Community Church. I'm a part of that, and so that was near and dear to my heart. So it's basically a big piggy bank that a friend of mine gave me, and we have a acrylic 8x11 holder right there that explains what the funds are going to, and people can just come by there and drop their loose change or dollar bills in it, and then we keep them up there for a few months, and then we take it down, we empty it, and give all the money to whatever organization it is. Right now we're doing it for Gold Star Teen Adventures, which is also a local company, and they support, they offer trips to teenagers that have had that their parents have lost their lives, or one or both of the parents have lost a life in the line of duty, fallen heroes basically. And so we're about to empty it out. They've been up there for about 6 months. We're about to empty that out and give them that just to help them fund what they do and help some kids go have fun somewhere else. So that's a couple little things we do as well.
Yeah, I love hearing that, and we certainly see you out and about at different chamber events. You know, we've been to business after hours where you all have catered and hosted meals for folks. We've seen the trucks out, so it's hard to miss Daddy D's rolling around town here in Fuquay. And like you mentioned, you've been open now for a number of years, and I imagine as exciting as it was having a big long line, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows along the way. So what are some of the lessons that you have learned, both of you, as you've continued to grow and evolve and move as a business?
I think for me, on the catering side, is communication, which it's also something I also remind the bride and groom, hey, communication's big in marriage, but it's really big in every aspect, whether I'm communicating with them on the menu and the items they want and their head count, but it's also communicating with the venue, making sure, do I need this? Do you have me somewhere to park? Do I need to wash the floors, rotate windows, or whatever the venue has for us to do, just so I know what to expect, so we were all on the same page. So I think I learned that really quick, the communication.
Yeah.
Some of the things that I've learned is, number one, when you go to open a restaurant, if you don't know anything about it, you need to have thick skin, so to speak, because your friends might love your barbecue, but the whole entire population may not. Now, based on our Google reviews, we're about 90%. So there's 10% of the people that have had a bad experience or don't like what we have. So you have to have thick skin because you are going to get some constructive criticism. I remember the first few months we were open, a gentleman came in and he was sitting there eating, and he called me over and he told me where to go buy my barbecue sauce at, because my Eastern just wasn't his style of Eastern, and he basically told me what brand to go buy at Food Line of my barbecue sauce, and I don't, you can't get an attitude about it, I was just like, well, thank you, I appreciate that, I'll have to check that out, I think I've had it before, kind of thing, and just appease him. but yeah, you have to be able to take constructive criticism. And as the owners, you kind of live an unconventional lifestyle. You're not going to work from 8 to 5. You know, you might be getting called at all hours of the night. The alarm system's going off for whatever reason. That's happened about 5, 6 times, as well as equipment breaking, failures, things like that. You know, you kind of, you know, you live around your work schedule, you know, kind of thing. And we have a 2-year-old and a 10-year-old, so that's a little tough. But we kind of knew that going in, just didn't know what level to expect it at. But that's the other.
Yeah,
It's
finding
different.
the work-life balance. I think
Yeah.
it's a tough word to even call that, but understanding it's going to be unique or different
That's right.
as owners and the communication, and that's such a huge piece of it. And I think we got so many young entrepreneurs here in Fuquay Arena and in the area, and people listening and trying to get some advice or thoughts. And you just shared this idea of having some thick skin is certainly something that is helpful. But when you think about somebody who's maybe interested in opening a restaurant or getting that food truck going, are there any
Yep.
things that you would maybe share with them, some words of wisdom to kind of encourage or get them to take the leap if they're really interested?
Yeah, well, what I would say is you need to enjoy what you're doing. So if you have a passion for cooking, you need to embrace that and put it in there. Now, you might come to a point, as we did, where you're feeding hundreds of thousands of people a week, where your passion for cooking turns into a business, you know, and it's now about managing people and making enough food to feed all everybody, the public, right? And so the food aspect of it goes away quick. You know, you find all your employees are now making all your food. Your hands aren't in it every day, and you're just kind of managing a business. But you need to have a passion for what you're doing. Also, just follow your heart. You gotta, you know, you gotta take risks. Also, me and Rachel took a big risk doing it. You know, we had no idea what we were doing. We about emptied our life savings to do it, and fortunately, we were blessed to get it all back. Anyway, and we prayed about it. You know, we prayed about it long and hard for a long time before we did it, and that is the most important thing that I feel to do. And if you get the right answers, then you know, go for it if you can. But you also, it wouldn't hurt to have about 1 year of capital. Don't just try to do it. 66% of restaurants, I don't know if that stat's changed in the last year, but 66% of restaurants fail in their first year. And the majority of that is because everything costs more than you think it's going to, and by the time you get done, you've spent every dime you have, and then it takes a while to recoup that. Yeah. And so you need to make sure that you have plenty of working capital at the end to get started, or else you're going to be completely stressed out.
Yeah, I love those points of this idea of having the passion that can drive you to keep going, but still being thoughtful, making sure the finances line up, making sure you've got certain plans in place that will certainly help you. So I think that's certainly great advice for all the entrepreneurs out there. Now, obviously, things have grown and evolved over the years from where you started to where you are now, and I'm sure there's aspirations for where you're continuing to go. So do you have any exciting either like plans or goals or things that you're striving towards as Daddy D's now?
Well, yeah, so, you know, we just recently launched our first food truck. I have a second one at the house, but it needs quite a bit of work, and so we're eventually maybe going to launch that one too. But we launched that, so it's out running around and is available for booking if anybody wants to reach us and schedule an event. So we did actually purchase a building in Anger where we were going to open our third location. Now, we haven't really announced that too much. There's a lot of people in the town of Anger because we've gone through. We bought the building. We had some plumbing put in to get tied into the city sewer. There's a lot of things we had to do already, and then we got the plans drawn up and the engineering, architectural, everything, and started getting contracting quotes. And this is our smallest building yet, and we're getting quotes in that are nearly double of what we paid for the other 2 restaurants. So we did not expect that. So right now, business sense wise, it doesn't make sense to put one in there, but that was what we had planned, was to have our third location, which was also going to be kind of a commissary location, so that the caterings don't bog down the restaurants themselves. So that was kind of our plan there. It was going to be a small restaurant also in the front, but a bigger kitchen. We've kind of put that on hold for now and trying to figure that out. You know, Rachel and I are always thinking of what the next big thing is to do. You know, it seems like we say we're not going to open another restaurant, and we're busy as it is, but then we get a little bit of breathing room. Everybody's in place and doing right, and then we feel like that we need to do something else. So, who really knows?
I feel like that's the entrepreneur's mindset of like something's going good, it's moving well. What's the next thing? You get that excitement going in your head.
But sometimes you go, whoa, hold on, it cost what?
Sometimes you have to put the brakes on.
And that's one of those decisions in the moment, right? I mean, as a leader of an organization, you've got to make good decisions. Is this going to, is this going to hurt my employees? Is this going to hurt my ability to, fund my life savings, that kind of stuff? Yeah, that's a tough decision. But hey, you have a piece of property at the very least, right?
Yes, we do. So we're still trying to figure out what to do with it, and we may still end up doing something there. Might just need to wait for the right time, or just figure it out. Because I know Andrew could definitely use some more restaurants, and so hopefully we could be in there soon. But,
and Fuquay Arena and Andrew are slowly but surely meshing, right? We're becoming closer and closer. So
that's right.
You guys, I'm sure you spend a lot of time around barbecue, right? But are there any other favorite local spots that you have in the Fuquay Arena area?
Oh yeah,
I have some.
I do. You don't get this from being picky.
It's not just barbecue.
No. I love Wing It. That place is. I love going there.
Yeah, Wing It's a great spot. Yeah.
Yeah, and great owners, great people. Miss Beth, I've met her several times, and we've done stuff together. And but they have delicious food, and they're in Andrew as well.
Yes.
Yep, that's right. Yes, and so we find ourselves at Los Tres Magallas all the time because it's right next to our church, so it tastes really great after Sunday church. And then our original spot we've been going to for a long time is the Highway 55 Burgers and Shakes at Hilltop Needmore Road. A nice young lady named Heather owns that, and we've gotten to know her. But my wife Rachel actually cut her teeth at 16 years old at an Andy's at 4042, which is now Highway 55. They had to change their name, and so that's where she got into the restaurant business when she was 16 years old, and many years ago. Not that she's old. I ain't saying you're old, baby.
That's what I heard.
But
okay, Rachel, sorry.
That's right, yeah. So, but yeah, that's actually where she cut her teeth and then went from there to the Draft House, and so she's just always loved the restaurant business. We didn't know much about running them, like I said, but she always just had a passion for working there. My wife is actually a civil engineer. Her dad has an engineering firm downtown Clayton and was expected to take over his engineering firm business, but she just didn't enjoy that, sitting at a desk doing this all day. And so now she sits at home and kind of does this all day, but handling the business end of it. But she also works in the restaurant, which is what she loves. She loves being in there on the line, getting down when the ticket board's railed out, and all that. She strives for that. Me, my anxiety, I don't do so well with that.
Yeah.
You play the role of backup on that, right?
Yeah, backup. So they call me Mickey Mouse. Is basically what I do. They said you should just do Mickey Mouse. Okay, you come in waving. You go talk to customers because I'm great at that. I'm a talker, in case you haven't realized. So I go in, talk to customers, and wave to all the employees. Don't notice much about what's going on. Just spread joy and happiness in there, and try not to let my OCD tendencies get to me. And then leave smiling and tell everybody thank you for coming in. I appreciate that, and thank all the customers for coming in as well as the employees.
That's Mickey Mouse. What a great the mantra of the Mickey Mouse.
Every entrepreneur's dream, right?
Yeah,
there. Mickey
call
Mouse.
it Mickey Mouse. Yeah. Well, that means your team is taking care of you, which I think is a great thing. So, thinking about being an entrepreneur, right? I mean, what's the best piece of business advice that either of you guys have ever received from someone?
Well, the best piece of advice that I received, I didn't take on. Two local business owners here, when I went to them and told them what we were going to do, said, "Don't do it, run." And of course we didn't listen to that, and they kind of chuckled too, and they said, "No, seriously, I wouldn't, but no, we, like I said, you got to make sure that you're passionate about what you're doing. Don't do it just for the money, I mean. If just because something can be profitable, don't just do it for that, because you might find out that you're not getting any joy out of it at all. So you got to be passionate about what you're doing, and just go in there and give it 110%. Give it all you got. You got to really learn how to manage your employees. One good piece of advice that Jonathan Pierce, y'all probably know from the Mason Jar, He and I are friends, and we talk. I go to him as when I need some advice sometimes, and I was just about to break down one day because it's just really, people have changed, especially since COVID. People have changed, and where I used to go when I was in the restaurant every day, and I'd go in there like yelling and screaming kind of thing, and why are you doing it like this, and why don't you close the cooler door, and he said, look, Ed, you got to. He used the term gentle pressure. So you go in there and just, if you have 3 things you want to fix, pick one of them that day and use gentle pressure on the employees. They respond to that better. And you can't just go in there and tell them what they're going to do and all that stuff, or they'll be going to the restaurant next to you working. And so that's what he said the best way is, from your managers all the way down, to all the way down the ladder, is to just use gentle pressure, be nice, be kind, show them that you care, and that they mean something to your business. Like, a dishwasher thinks that he's got the lowest position on the in the restaurant, right? But the dishwasher does not. Does anybody want to eat off of a dirty fork or a dirty plate? They don't. The dishwasher is just as important as the manager in the restaurant and everybody in between, and you just got to let them know that.
Sometimes more important.
Sometimes
Yeah.
more important. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I inspect my silverware at every restaurant nonchalantly before I eat off of it. So.
So is there any other surprising fact about Daddy D's? You told us a little bit about where does this name Daddy D's come from?
Well, so when we were talking about the restaurant, of course, when everybody wants to start a business, one of the first things they want to do is come up with their cool, catchy name, right? I mean, that's the easy part of it, for the most part. So one of the surprising, the name came from, like I said, we had just had our first boy. He was probably about 1.5 to 2 years, and me and Rachel were throwing around names, and she actually came up with, because the whole concept of the smoking meats and the barbecue sauces was something that I did, and I was a new daddy, and my last name is DeSena, and so she said Daddy D's, and so that's what stuck. It has a nice ring to it. Now we did find out that there are some other Daddy D's places. There's one in Atlanta. There's another one out in Washington. There's a couple around. None of them are trademarked, so we're all good there. But that's what we did. Now my part of it is it should have been called Mama D's, because I got to give credit where credit's due. Rachel, it should have been called Mama D's. For one thing, Rachel handles all the business aspects of it. She is way more level-headed than I am, and she can go in and handle all the employees with a level head and very calm. Where I struggle with that. I can't stand to see the walk-in cooler door left open 8 times in a row, and she can just go by and push it shut, where I might be losing my mind. So Rachel is the driving force behind Daddy D's, and everybody in the restaurants, all the employees, they know that. I don't try to take credit for anything where credit is not due. I did help start the business, and I have kind of stepped down from the operations part. Now, we talk about things at home, and when I go in and I'm in there working in the restaurant, fixing equipment, I kind of, might see something, or they might ask me stuff, and I'll kind of do that. But for the most part, Rachel handles the operations part. So with my construction and mechanical background, I repair all the equipment. When we first opened, everything starts breaking down. Because you try not to buy all new brand new equipment, because it's incredibly expensive. So we go to auctions and stuff. Well, once you put it into service, the first week everything starts breaking down, and I quickly learned that we were going to go broke hiring all these different companies to come in here and fix everything. So I learned how to fix everything, and just myself, and just by watching YouTube videos. So I can pretty much fix about everything in the restaurant now, and so that's what I do. I keep the food trucks up and running. I remodeled the one food truck. I'm going to be working on the second one, and I do all the mechanical work and all the maintenance on both restaurants. So that's kind of where I fit in, and then. But for the most part, I try to stay out of the restaurants other than that, except to go in and eat every now and then, or take something from one store to the other if I need to transport some goods or something like that. That's about it. Yeah. But Rachel is the driving force and workhorse behind this operation, for sure.
Opposites attract.
I know.
Yeah, and they work.
I love the name, and it's great to hear where it came from. And I think people don't realize when you decide to open a business, you're not just doing the skills or managing. You're also a mechanic. You're an engineer.
Yeah,
Maintenance.
You're the toilet cleaner.
The toilet
if you
cleaner.
need to.
You're the HR department.
You're the HR. Yeah, you're every
you are
department.
The HR department.
That is all of it.
One of the biggest departments in the restaurant is the HR department.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Hey, Brad, let's open a bar.
Yeah, why not? Well, we know that there's a lot of great places for people to check out Daddy D's. So for folks who are interested, where's the best place to try some food if they want to come out for lunch or dinner? And then what's about for folks who are interested in the catering? Because I think that's certainly a growing area of need here in Fuquay as well. So how can folks get in touch with you?
So as far as the catering goes, you can go to our website. You can click on submit a request. It's a small survey. And then that email actually goes directly to me. And then I will contact you back. I'll send you my menus. We'll come up with a menu for you on the date and time. Like I said, delivery is an option. We can add full service. We also have the restaurant in Benson. You can pick up there. We can deliver out of there as well. So for me, for the catering, just the best way is just go to the website.
Yeah. Now the Benson location's open on Sundays where this one is closed. So we do caterings out of Benson on Sundays. But one other thing I wanted to say about the Fuquay restaurant here is that we are like I said, we're a Christian family-owned business. We don't serve alcohol in there. It's family dining. There's no TVs in there. We play nice soft music. You might even hear a Christian song every now and then, along with you might hear some banjo country going on in there or something, some kind of AC/DC done banjo style, in there sometimes. But we have a lot of families that come there to eat for that aspect of it. You're not going to be worried about what you're going to hear, what you're going to see, what you might be seeing someone else do. We also have a lot of pastors that have meetings in there because they know it's a very safe place to go and get great food. So it is good for that. We have seating for almost up to 100 people in there. So we have a lot of, and we also do DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhubs, all the delivery service options available. Mm-hmm. And if you just go to our website, daddydsbarbeque.nc.com, and you can find all the information there.
Yeah, absolutely. Highly recommend checking out Daddy D's for lunch, dinner, catering, any of those options. So we got one final question. You said big menu. What's your favorite item on the menu at Daddy D's?
I'm from here, so I would have to say my go-to is like a Eastern sandwich. It's where we take we cook our Boston butts and we pull it apart, and then with the Eastern we chop it up and we put our homemade sauce that my man here come up with. We put that on there and it actually marinates for a little bit during the morning and throughout the day, and so that's probably my go-to. The Eastern, I could eat that anytime, any day.
Mm.
Yeah, so most people, when you ask them, say brisket, because you can't just get brisket anywhere. And we slow smoke our brisket for 13 hours every night. But I have lately been on the loaded pork cheese fries kick, served with our homemade ranch dressing. And you can drink the cheese sauce, and you can chase it with the ranch. It's that darn good. But I've been finding myself getting, every time I drive by there, I've got to go in there, and sometimes I'll just say, give me a small one. I just even give me a hand size one, handful size. But it's served as an appetizer, but it is a meal. You can barely eat the whole thing, and it is so good. Loaded pork cheese fries.
We should have held this podcast in Daddy D's.
Yeah, I know. Next time we're going remote next time on this.
Oh man. Well, this has been so much fun, and so thank you, Blake and Ed, for jumping on the podcast today from Daddy's. Great having you both on the channel here.
Thank you, guys. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you, gentlemen, and thank you to our listeners. Join us each week on the Better Together podcast from the Fuquay Varina Chamber of Commerce as we highlight great local businesses. From the Dashmore Conference Room and Studio, sponsored by Rescued Wood Rehab, I am Marty.
And I'm Brad.
And we are Better Together.
We're better together. It's a weekly podcast. We're better together. You should know that there's more in the dash. We're better together. Fuquay Varina Chamber of Commerce. We're better together podcast.